Hey everyone, and welcome to the Maria Fontana Show. So I am so excited today. Listen, I'm beyond friggin' excited. I have a guest on today who is someone I've been really um so smitten by, and just she's just given me so much energy and light and inspiration to really step into my own being, who I really am. And I want to introduce to you my dear friend. Now she's going to come on, introduce herself, tell you a little bit about herself, and we're going to have a conversation that's going to fucking blow your socks off today. So be prepared. Hey, beautiful.
Hi, thank you so much, Maria, to have me here on the show. I'm Gennye Lion Rainbow Anderzon, and I'm based in the UK. I'm originally Swedish. I am a healer and a channel, but I actually work with business owners, CEOs, executives, and what we do is we weave in their spiritual gifts into their current roles,
Mm,
where necessary, where it feels aligned, but also really allowing them to step into their highest expression of who they truly are, and so they can amplify that in the position they're already in, and
mm.
sometimes move to different positions because that's what was required. But yeah, there we are. And I have a podcast as well, and those things. So I love this work. Energy work and business is like my jam.
Yes, and I love that. And our conversation today, before the podcast, Gennye and I were talking about, some major transformations that are happening on the planet, in ourselves. And I think it's really timely and perfect because I always say nothing happens by accident, and everything happens just at the right time, always. Things are always working out for me. And I want you guys who are listening to tap into this today. Even if you're skeptical, allow yourself to just close your eyes, only if you're not driving, obviously, and you're listening to this, and really hear the conversation. And then allow it to resonate inside your soul, not your brain. Because this is going to be something that I think so many of us, I know so many of us are struggling with, because I speak to hundreds of high performing women every day. My clients that come to me, this is something that we all are totally feeling right now. And if you're not feeling it, well, maybe you're just ignoring it, but you really are feeling it. So have an open mind and an open heart. So, Gennye, tell me a little bit about, you know, as an example, what I'm going through a huge transition right now. And I feel like I'm coming out of the closet with my spirituality at 150%, that
Yeah.
I've been dumbing it down. So tell me a little bit about your experience with this, and what you feel like our listeners need to know.
Okay. So where do I start? Okay.
Wherever you think we need.
So, okay, let's bring it like, let's just really make it relatable here. So,
Mhm.
for the whole of humanity, if you look at the globe as we are as humans, there is a planetary shift right now.
Mhm.
So whatever you're feeling at whatever level right now for you is individual to you, but it's happening with a lot of people. So it's not just you. So you don't
Mhm.
feel, so isolated about it. When
Mm.
I say the planetary shift, what I mean is that there is a heart opening. Actually, that's what it is. It's a heart opening of individuals that is happening because the evolution of humanity is actually moving into a level of higher consciousness, which is more aligned with collaboration, unity, working together, supporting each other,
Mm.
not doing things to just for your own, power and greed. It's more a collaborative energy, if I want to say that is coming to
Mm.
earth, which means that when we feel these things that we no longer, this is going to be things we don't feel aligned with anymore.
Mhm.
Things like really driven, just focused on money driven, for example, that's going to feel misaligned for a lot of people as we go forward, because what's happening is that they want to feel more aligned and on purpose and have a deeper meaning than just the surface stuff. And
Mhm.
although that's been a drive before,
Mm.
It's just a level of consciousness that is coming in, a new way, a different lens. You're looking through a different lens. And that is why you feel different. So that could
Mm.
play out in things like, let me say an example of, do you want to I'll take an example, yeah? So one of
Yeah.
my, yeah, because people might be thinking, okay, how? So
Mm.
one of my friends, he is actually not my client, but he is a high-powered like consultant that goes
Mhm.
into private schools in the UK, and he will go in kind of sort of rough the feathers, because he will have to restructure the management and like
Mm.
change, whatever that needs changing in there, which
Mhm.
creates a lot of stir up. It's
Mm.
quite a rough job really, because you have to have some balls, right? So and these, you have to remember, these institutions are quite driven by money. It's private schooling. It's high, this kind of thing. Now, it used to kind of give him a drive and a kick to do the job.
Mm.
Now, what's happening is he's feeling more connected to the long lasting sort of performance, the long lasting, what's going to happen with that school, the people involved. His heart is opening, so he feels like, although it's a drastic change,
Mm.
is it really doing the long term longevity work that is really meant for that particular school? And what
Mm.
does it do to the people? It's like he's completely looking through the whole thing with a different lens.
Mm.
So that means that he feels it's hard for him to do his job because his heart is open, and he wants to see a different result than what he has seen before.
Mm.
That is awakening. So
Yes.
if somebody feels that, who's listening now, you're in a job and you're like, how can I bring more meaningful, like how can I change the drivers and
Mm.
to feel more happy myself, but still doing what my contract says,
Mm.
and all those things. Well, it's a little tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because how do we then change the trajectory of how a business, because you might have signed up to a business that their values and how that's driven is no longer in alignment with your own personal values,
Yeah.
because you are changing.
Yeah.
That means there is a little change that needs to happen.
Mm. And as
That's where I come
entrepreneurs,
in. That's
right.
where I
And
come
as entrepreneurs too. I mean, myself, I've been an entrepreneur 38 years, and
in.
there's a constant evolution. And I
Yeah.
think I know myself, again, I work with so many like high performing, high achieving women, that what I'm seeing is, and this is why I'm shifting my work to my authentic heart, what my calling
Mhm.
is because I see them. It's not about the money, because they have success. I see that they've reached levels of hitting goals, getting to that next milestone, and they're still lacking, which is where
Yeah.
my expertise comes in. It's the self-worth.
Yes.
Like they're confident, like they're confused because they're super confident, because that's
Mhm.
who I was, that's who I am, that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
But yet their deep rooted self-worth is what is like they're hiding from, and their own truth, their own essence. So
Yes.
I want to ask you a question about, so coming out of the closet spiritually,
Mm.
energetically, that, for everyone listening to this, this is not about religion. I just want to be clear. This is about
Yes.
energy.
No
We're all
religion.
energetic beings, right? It's science. Energetic beings having a human experience.
Yes.
So really, this is the facts that come with science and come with what's happening. And I know my own experience from feeling really just not good enough, no matter what the hell I accomplished, feeling unworthy, no matter what damn like level of success I reached, and constantly feeling still that I had to please people, even though you wouldn't know it because I come
Mm.
off confident. But this deep rooted self worthy thing um, was something I had to really work on in my ascension, in my elevation of my own self,
Yes. Yes.
right?
100%.
So Gennye,
Yeah.
let's talk about, tell me a little bit about how this all marries together. Like, what is the proponent that's making this happen to me right now at such a fast rate? Because it's just
Okay.
like I can't take it anymore. I had to change. It's non-negotiable.
Yeah. So what's happening is that more of your, like from a technical perspective, your consciousness is expanding, which means that you're allowing more of your soul parts lead your way, less filtered through the lens of the ego. So the ego is the one that is in fear. The ego is the one that is driven by results and competition. The ego is like the human part of ourselves who feels like we're actually separate from other people. That part is getting a little bit more quiet, and the soul is coming through and says, hey, we're going to work through unity here. Like, we are going to make this work. This is for the greater good of all. We're doing this. So that you can't ignore that. So that's why you can't ignore it, because it's like happening. And you can't just ignore the soul. Sorry. It's like, that's what's happening. And then what happens is that when people have that experience, all their core human woundings are coming up. And that is really only 4. And that is disempowerment. The next one is unworthiness. The next one is abandonment. And the next one is not trusting the flow. So lack of trust. And if you have a core wounding in one of those, and we all have, that wounding will come up to heal, so that you come into wholeness. I mean, this is why I heal this in my clients all the time, so that they can have the success and feel fucking amazing as well.
Yeah.
You know, why not? I mean, I'd rather feel fucking amazing and have less like external success, you know.
Yeah.
But really, in the new world, as I call it, or in the new era, is we're meant to then have it all. So that means we are meant to feel good and whole on the inside, truly deeply worthy, not feeling like we're abandoned. We are very included, you know, feeling very empowered, and feeling that we are completely in trust and in unity with the universe, which is all those 4 things. So the opposite of the wounding. And also be very materially, and you know, all the other things, feeling wealthy and supported and held. You know, this is it. This is the ultimate part of this is success. So when it comes to having all of the things on the outside and then feeling this void and this hole inside, that's the core woundings that needs healing. And once those core woundings are healed, the game changes. Like, that is it. The game changes. And when I say healing, it's not like journaling or doing a meditation. It's actually working with somebody who is a healer, and have it go into the subconscious mind, do the trauma healing, you know, rewrite the story, rewire the subconscious mind, clear the DNA, do the work, like actually do it. So that's where people like me come in, so that you can get it done. You know, and that is actually what makes you an embodied leader. I talk about embodied leadership, and that's actually what, because you've then healed the core wounds. You're still in your success trajectory, what you're doing.
Yes.
But you're becoming whole, you know.
Yeah, it's so important, so interesting. So what are a few things that our listeners can just walk away from this podcast today, and maybe just a few action steps they can take moving forward to just even get awareness? Because I know so many of us are not even aware that this is why we're feeling the way we're feeling, or they're still allowing fear to keep them in the box of not stepping into their brilliance. You know, I'll use myself as an example. Gennye, I've been teaching business acumen and business development for, 16 and a half years online. When I started on the online journey, I became an integrative healing practitioner. I became a licensed hypnotherapist. I did all this work because I invested so much in myself, because I knew deep down I was a light worker and a healer. But when I started hiring coaches, and again, this is all part of my journey, I was discouraged from sharing my intuitive gifts, because I am intuitive and I'm brilliant. I have this visionary gift to help people move, through to their next steps. And I was discouraged and told, well, that'll discredit you. I don't think it's a good idea. So I built this empire based on business acumen and getting to the next step. But the point of the story is what happened in this journey, and all of my clients who have been with me for 16 years can say, the biggest part of the success and the breakthroughs had nothing to do with the business. It was all the inner work we were
It's
doing.
energy. Yes.
Yeah, the energy
Yes.
work, the healing, the removing
Yes.
all these subconscious beliefs. And I thought to myself, well, why can't I come clean and just do this alone? Because this is where I want to do. And it was coming out of the closet for me, literally,
Mm.
and saying, you know what? I don't need to prove anything to anyone. The people who know me and have worked with me, they know what they get. And they used
Mm.
to say to me, I had no idea what I signed up for. They'd
No,
be like,
exactly.
holy. So as myself, I was aware, but it took me still 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can our
And
listeners do to maybe I'll be
so
aware
the
and step
sooner
into
you
it?
can incorporate it, the sooner you will become successful on every level. And I'm
Mm,
talking emotional, spiritual, and financial success. Because, yeah, okay, they, originally you wanted financial success, probably if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a leader or an executive and you're driven. But you really now you're looking for emotional and spiritual success too.
mm,
So I would say the sooner you take the leap
mm,
and start, embracing it and acknowledging it. If that means that you start working with someone because you might not know where to start, especially if you're really busy, you're not going to want to take, 20 online courses because you don't have
no.
time. So it's
Yes.
probably better you're working one-on-one with someone first and just see how it goes. Or, okay, read a couple of books perhaps, to start, but that's not really going to cut it. So it depends on how much in a rush you are, not
Mm,
meaning in a rush, but like how keen you are to actually go, do you know what? There's no point, sort of going around in circles, I
yeah.
want to embrace it. And that doesn't mean, what it looks like on the outside is that most people that do that will just have the facade, stay how they are, go
Mm,
at the back, do the inner work because they kind of searching, finding out, and then slowly they start incorporating it in the things that they do.
mm,
So usually when I work with my clients, I don't go, oh yeah, just go and make it an official announcement. That's not really how it happens. Is
mm,
normally they come and work, they do the inner work, things starting changing for them. And
mhm,
then all of a sudden they will start finding the words, they will start finding the ways of how to move. They
mm,
become actually also much more intuitive, which
mm,
means that they then becoming more trusting in the intuition, which means that when they trust the intuition more, then they're more likely to take action on that intuitive nudge
mm,
they're getting, which means
yeah.
that then they will lead themselves to the next perfect step. While as
Mm,
before they did the deep inner work, they would do make decisions based on mind and intellectual, and maybe actually even disregard the heart, and because when I say intuition and heart, I mean kind of the same thing. So
mhm,
they would then disregard the heart calling and then make decision based upon more of a static mind decision, which then is limited because they're not accessing all parts of who they are. So it
mm,
just gets a limited result basically because it's a limited way of doing it. So
mm,
as they're doing the deep inner work, they will then start accessing more parts of themselves, trusting more parts of themselves, trusting more of their intuition, and then start making those moves that they wouldn't have done if they wouldn't have done the work.
mm,
And that will then lead them to the next perfect step of how to not disassemble it, but like, to how to present it, or how to move in the next step. So
mm,
it really starts on the inside. It doesn't start with, oh yeah, I'm going to make an announcement now, I'm now a spiritual SEO, or I'm now
yeah.
a spiritual, it doesn't work like that. SEO, what did I say? CEO, I mean CEO.
I know what you
I've
mean.
been doing SEO the last few days. I've been writing on SEO. Anyway, and so it really is like it's a step-by-step journey, as opposed to it's not an announcement.
Mm,
And that I think feels much like a safer transition, because you created a world and an existence that is working for you, right? So
mm,
it's like you got a business, or you have got a good job, you've got a family, house, like you got all your things, like, it's all working.
mm,
So you're afraid of making that announcement because what's going to break? Yeah.
mm,
That's why people
absolutely.
don't do it, you see. But it doesn't work like that.
No,
It
it's
works
actually
like you
more of a
do.
disservice if you stay, because this is
Yeah,
what I experienced. I
yeah,
kept holding on and I felt almost like a chokehold, like I was
exactly.
suffocating. And
Yeah.
I went away for 3 weeks to my home in Italy and I just disconnected from everything. And
Mm.
it just everything erupted. My truth. And I said, you know what? I can't push this down anymore
No, exactly. No,
because there's no point. I just don't
no,
want to go on that way.
no, no. So someone's listening now and thinking, how the heck do I do this? Well, do something like if you have limited time, do more effective coaching or mentorship healing with someone, and
Mm,
then just start on the inside, no announcements, just see how it goes, and
mm,
then you'll find the words and the ways of how to rearranging your matrix. Because what happens is, as soon as you start doing the inner work, your matrix will change. And
it
that, I
does.
mean, with what I mean with that is like how you behave, the work you want to do, like the way you relate to other people,
Mm,
the way you value things, what is important to you. Your matrix will change. And that
absolutely.
is scary. But
Mm,
there is kind of there is no way back.
yeah.
We've got to do it and just do it step by step, and then it will be okay. It'll be a little bit bumpy sometimes because some
Mm,
people will be like, oh, you've changed a bit. Like,
yeah.
that you
The
might not feel like
resistance.
you might not feel familiar with those people anymore, that you're not feeling like you're sharing so many values with them anymore because you're changing. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like that because you, why hang out with people that you don't vibe with anymore? It's no point.
Yes.
So yeah, it's got it. There is no real like recipe how to do it. It's just do it. Just
Just
start.
do it.
Yeah, just start, but do it maybe in privacy where you feel safe, and
Mm.
then you'll find the steps as you go.
So I know
That
the
makes
other
sense.
day, yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely. And I know the other day, one of my clients had asked me, and I answered in my way, but I'd love to hear your take on this.
Yeah,
She said to me, Maria, I've been in therapy for 20 something years, but this healing work that we do together is so different. But how
yeah,
is it? What's the difference? So, what's your take on what's the difference? Because sometimes people say, well, I've been working on myself 15 years and nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah,
there's a huge difference. I'd love to hear your
yeah.
beautiful take on what the difference is.
So the difference is, if you think of therapy, so like I would say therapy is like psychotherapy,
Mhm,
maybe counseling,
mhm.
perhaps NLP. I don't know. Yeah, maybe maybe hypnotherapy. Like I don't know. When you say therapy, do you mean psychotherapy?
I
Would
think
that be
more
better?
psychotherapy, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
because I would put NLP. This is just my thought, and all those other
That yeah,
things is
NLP
more
is a little bit
healing,
more, on the subconscious stuff. So
right?
psychotherapy, I mean, depending on what kind of sort of like department of, because it's different. Like you've got Jung psychotherapy, you've got different ones.
Mm.
But anyway,
Well,
or
in the
dynamic,
States, we just have like therapy. People
yeah,
go, they talk
therapy.
about their problems, someone
What
listens.
happens is when you are talking about your traumas and about the things that's happened to you that is then potentially limiting you or holding you back,
Mhm,
when you bring it to the surface and talk about it, it's like you're actually re-triggering, re-traumatizing yourself, actually. If there is no energetic solutions to remove that trauma from your cells. So I think a lot of psychotherapists have become more integrative. So they will say, like, bringing in breathing exercises, bringing in
mhm,
other somatic things to actually remove it from the body.
mhm,
That means, so the reason it has not been working is because it's still in your body.
mhm,
You might have on a mental level kind of understood what had happened, but on an heart, an emotional and energetic level, it's still in your body. So you
mhm,
still feel it.
mhm,
That's why it's not helping. So when it comes to energy work, like, so this is how I would work. So I will identify what the problem is, just like a psychotherapist. We will understand. I'm not saying I am one. I will identify it.
right.
We will then discuss it and say, okay, what happened? What was the circumstances? I kind of just need sort of a format of how it
Mhm,
happened. And then I will then use my healing techniques to go back, because time is not linear. So
mm,
we can go back on it, because in or work with the subconscious as well, to kind of rewire the event. So basically remove the trauma first from the body, so the body will hold trauma memory. We energetically remove that. I don't know if people can kind of understand that, but
yes,
I can remove it. I literally pull it out. Like I don't always do that, but I can command the energy to move, and it does. And then it goes out of the body. Then the cell is like, you know, technically restored to more of a neutral sort of base. And then we reprogram that cell, reprogram the person or the subconscious to the original state, which is normally often like the pure state before trauma, right? And then what happens is that we can then put in new beliefs or new sort of like stories about how they want their life to be. Now, this is a very simplified version. Like, so this is working with this life. Then if people are open to the past life scenario, I also work past lives. So for example, I give you an example because this gives people a little bit of context.
Yeah.
So I'm working with one of my clients at the moment, and I'm not going to go into very deep, but you know, surface stuff. She has got a brand, and she wants to bring the brand further out. She's not a coach; she's a product owner, right? And she has visibility fear. So that means that we obviously looked at all the sort of variables about her own confidence and her, you know, this life and how she was treated as a child, and, you know, confidence, how she believed, blah, 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 all those things. So we've been working on that. But then also she has this, she was saying to me, I have this unexplainable fear of being on camera, which has got nothing, like we can't find it in this life. So we then went back and we found it in the Akashic Records in another lifetime, where she was like, this was at the stake, you know, witch wound type of thing. And she escaped the stake, and she was left with injuries in this lifetime, which on a cell level, when I said it, her eyes was like, oh my God, that's exactly what happened. Although she can't remember it, she could feel it.
Yeah.
We healed the trauma of the stake, where she was left injured and had to heal and also hide a lot, because then they called her a monster. You know, this is like in the 1400s. They called her things because she, you know, there was no awareness sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So she felt very ashamed for the rest of her life. So we healed that trauma very quick, like this, 5 minutes, done. And she is transformed. She feels totally different. Yes. She's like, it's okay, I can do it now. I feel a little bit sort of like I'm not used to it, but I will be able to do this. And that is one of the beauty of healing. We go across timelines. We don't sort of limit the healing or the work to this lifetime. We go across lifetimes. We go future lifetimes, parallel. Like, it's called multidimensional anyway. So, and although people might be thinking on this show, oh, what is this woman talking about? Well, you know, have an open mind. Why don't you
well, now I think my audience definitely has an open mind, and I know everyone that's listening, they're like, oh my God, because this is the work that I have done on myself. Like, you know, I've invested in this type of work, because so many people that come to work with, they're like, well, how did you go from here to here? And I'm like, it's all the inner work. It's
the inner work.
The game. And these are the things now I'm teaching, because this is what has brought me to a new level. And I always tell people, you need healers and mentors in different levels at different times to help you with different things.
Absolutely.
It's not one thing. It's so important, you know, like, I adore your work. I love what you bring to the world. It's so powerful and necessary. Yeah,
it's necessary. And I think this is it, right? In the beginning of this conversation, I was saying about the new world and the new era. So there is no going back. We are only moving in this direction. And so it's like, well, you can do it now or later, but you might as well do it now. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not going to go away. So it's like,
the truth is, like, I know myself, Gennye, like, I don't feel good. Like, I felt when you're in resistance, you just, again, you're out of alignment and you feel like
Yeah.
shit.
Feels heavy.
You feel like
Yeah, it just
shit
feels
like every
heavy.
day. It's like I don't
It's
want to
just
feel like
no
shit.
fun, is it? Like, look, I get it with the fear and everything, you know, I
Yeah,
get this. It could be irrational, it could be rational fear, it could be all sorts.
right.
But fear is not real anyway. It's your brain creating that,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. So just maybe think to yourself as well. This is a good example. Anyone listening is like, fear is created like by the cortex, you know, like the amygdala, you know, this is like your, you know, caveman brain that
Right.
creates this sense of fear, you know, fight or flight, and it's just a part of your caveman brain. So it's just there to protect you so that no
Mm-hmm.
tiger or like lion is going to eat you. So it's a part of our, you know, reptilian, you know, like the
Mm-hmm.
basic, you know, survival stuff. And
Mm.
or the reptilian brain, they call it that too. So just know that a fear is not real. As in, look, the feeling of fear is often much stronger than the actual event that's going to happen. So
Yep.
you're just going to be like, look, all right, I have a caveman brain. Like, you know, part of my brain is a caveman brain.
Yeah.
And thanks, caveman brain, for trying to protect me for something that is not going to happen anyway. And I'm just going to take a few deep breaths and calm myself down and regulate my nervous system through my breathing and kicking in my parasympathetic nervous system and feel grounded in what I do and do this.
Right.
So like you have the scientific side of it going, actually, yeah, my brain is doing this, but I can regulate it with my breathing and bring myself into center and calmness, which is my natural state, and then pursue my dreams.
Yeah. I love that. So one thing that just came to mind when you're saying that, and I just would love to touch on this before we head
Yeah.
out, because I know we both have other appointments. What is, just real quick, what is regulate your nervous system? Because I know what that means, but I have a feeling a lot of people might not even be clear on it. So maybe what it is real quick, and one thing which I know you just
Yeah.
mentioned, but I don't know if everybody caught that.
Yeah. So a lot of people talk about regulating the nervous system. I personally say that regulating your nervous system is actually all of your systems of your body working beautifully in harmony. But the nervous system is really, when it's triggered, you're in fight and flight, which means
Mm.
that you're stressed, your breathing changes, you don't feel grounded, you feel, you know, scatty. It's not, you know, you're not operating on a level that is
Anxiety.
coherent, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like triggered, sort of thing. So
Mm.
that is also a normal response to certain things, you know.
Mm.
But because we live in a high-paced sort of life and world, when we are on a high sort of like trigger or like stress, or, you know, the nervous system is challenged because we're in this fight and flight because we're creating that all the time. It means that, well, your immunity is like rubbish. Like you will get ill quite easily because your body can't, your immunity is just not working very well when you're in that state. So it's just, from a health point of view, it's rubbish. You just need to stop. You need to be
Mm.
able to regulate your nervous system. So it means through, for example, breathing in and out through the nose starts to kick in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest nervous system, which means that you become more calm.
Mm.
Now, it's actually technically what happens, your right nostril, I think it is. So the right one activates the sympathetic. So it's
Mhm.
like get activated. And the left one, I think is this way, it might be the other way around. The left one is actually the parasympathetic calming. So technically you shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't just breathe in and out from one nostril. But what it does when you do the nose, it at least starts helping the parasympathetic nervous system so that you can calm yourself down. If you breathe in and out through your mouth, none of that will happen. So you
No.
mustn't do that, because then you're not helping yourself. So the breathing is so important. So it's like a self-help tool. So if somebody, you could even do it. I've seen some people doing this, that don't take my word for it now. You might want to Google which nostril it is, but you could literally like go really hard into one nostril. I think it's the left one. that would be the parasympathetic, and then within a minute you have actually calmed down. It's a physiological, scientific, proven method.
Yeah, I've done this with one of my healers for years. She had made me alternate.
Yeah.
Again, it's just, there's so many different things out there that you could look into,
but
but
that's
it
a good
definitely
self-help.
works.
But it's a good self-help. If you feel like, oh, so the symptoms of having a nervous system that is kind of triggered or, not regulated, it means that your mind is kind of racing, you're always like busy, you feel stressed, you get kind of hot, maybe, you're just not, you're just feeling, it's like overwhelming. You trying
Anxiety.
to
Yeah, it's anxiety, panic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to take deep breaths, and you can't, like, it feels like you can't relax. That's like a sign of that you're in fight or flight. So you've got to then sit, close your eyes, breathe in and out through your nose, calmly and normally, not like really deeply, just normally into the bottom of your belly, and do it for like 5 minutes, and just turn everything off, calm yourself down, and then just watch your body. Just watch how, your whole body language just changes because you feel different, literally.
I swear by this. I've done it. It's got to be 25 years now when I started my healing journey. Because I used to suffer depression, anxiety, crippling. I used to pass out. They wouldn't know what was wrong with me, and it was
Oh my God.
basal vagal response.
You were like in high fight and flight.
Oh, I was a fucking mess at the peak of like my madness, and these modalities changed my life. Like the healing work, the working on my inner game changed my life.
Yeah, no, it's everything. Like, I would say it's everything.
It's everything. And in this lifetime, I'm blessed, and I feel that we're honored to have you as an amazing light worker and healer. Basically, guys, if you don't know what a light worker is, my take is it's a being on this human experience that shares their light and just helps other people be their best version of themselves with all goodness and light. So thank you, my love. Thank you so much, Gennye, for coming. I'm going to drop all of Gennye's information, how you can connect with her in the show notes, guys. Go on over and support her podcast. What's the name of your podcast? I'm going to be on it too. So what's
yes, you are. So Visionary New Earth Leaders.
Beautiful. So I want you guys to go over and subscribe, drop her a review, and connect with her. Follow her on social and start really stepping into the new best version of you, because that's who you are innately anyway.
Exactly.
So thank you, my love. So honored to have you today.
Thank you.